So this pile in front of me is my absolute favorite router of all time, which is the Makita XTR01 18-volt cordless, brushless, palm and trim router. This has been my absolute favorite router since I bought it. And today I'm going to give you the full overview of all the accessories, the ones that you want, the ones you don't want. So let's get started. Howdy guys, my name is Robert, owner of Dailey Woodworks, and this is the Dailey Woodworks YouTube channel where we help you build great furniture. And today I'm going to show you one of my favorite tools that I have been using to build that furniture, and you've probably seen it in many other videos. If you're new to the channel, you haven't seen it in many other videos, but if you'd like to subscribe, if I earn your subscription at the end of this video, click the subscribe button and I'd sure appreciate it. Alright, so let me give you the rundown of this router. So first, I'm just going to move all this stuff out the way. So this router right here, it's 18 volt. I'm going to go ahead and pull out the battery. I typically run it with a 5 amp hour or 4 amp hour battery. The cool thing with this router is if you're not on the Makita battery platform, you can get the corded version of this, which is all the accessories I'm about to show you are completely 100% compatible with it, and I have heard phenomenal things about that as well. My thought process is most router motors, this guy for most routers is pretty much the same. There's some that are better than others. It's this pile of stuff right here that makes or breaks a router, that makes a router good or bad, things like that. However, I will say this guy has plenty of power to cut dados. You can't hog it. Well, actually you can. If you got a sharp bit, you can hog out a 3/4 inch, 3/8 inch deep dado in one pass, but you're pushing this router beyond what it was designed for, right? But small little dados, small passes, you can definitely do that. So you've got your motor. This thing is sold individually as just a trim router. It's just a trim router. And then you can buy the kit that comes with the Plunge Base. I think this guy, this is the fence. I think this is included with this part, and then you can buy some accessories different. So first off, with the trim router, we all know what a trim router does, right? You use it to basically put roundovers on things. Pretty much a small chamfer bit lives in here most of the time. A small roundover bit lives in here most of the time if I'm using this guy. You can put a router bushing on this base. I typically don't. I do have the dust collection port on here. Let me see if I can pop it off real quick. The dust collection port is supposed to screw on, but I don't do that because I like being able to pop it on and off easy. But you can see that snaps on and off. Let me get it back. Well, I'll save that, right? That snaps on and off. And you can see this is just very quickly comes off. You push in this button, and then you have your wrench to tighten and loosen the bit. It also comes with 2 wrenches, so I don't have the other one with me right this second, but if you get a bit in there that's stuck, you can put a wrench here and then a wrench here, and that will allow you to get that extra torque you need to get your bit loose or cinch it down if you want to overdo it. One complaint that you will hear with this router, and that is a legitimate complaint, is there's no real micro adjust. Let me see if I can get this on here and show you. So this is your adjustment, and it's just a full gross adjustment. So if you're trying to be super precise, it's a little hard to dial that in. What I found is if I kind of half clamp it, get a little bit of pressure on there, I can really slow that down and really fine tune it. Honestly, nothing I do is that super precise where I need that micro adjust like that. I'd be using a plunge router in that scenario. And then you lock it and it's rock solid, saying it's never slipped on me. Dust collection on this router is okay. It's better than nothing. Definitely better than nothing. Especially if you're doing a light round over or something like that, it can really pull the chips out. Once you're starting to do dados and stuff, my kind of thought process is some dust collection is better than no dust collection, and it's mainly going to get the small particles that are most harmful to us, but the bigger chips are just going to have that velocity to break through the vacuum. So that's kind of the, whatever this base is, the fixed base. Oh, there's also a feature on this that's not on a lot of routers that is absolutely great to have. And that is this little line right here. And there's another little line right here. That marks the center line of your bit so that you can, if you're doing a stop or you have marks on the face, you can just line that up with that line, boom, right there, and you can stop your dado or whatever you're doing. And that is phenomenal. The next base that you can get for this, and this is true of the plunge or fixed, or no, this is true of the corded or cordless version of this router, is you can get a plunge base. A plunge base on a palm router is phenomenal, and that's one of the main reasons I bought this. Is I had the rigid 18-volt router before that. There's no plunge base for it. It's a fine router. It didn't really have any problems or complaints with it. This one's much more powerful, I'll tell you that. But this guy, having this to do things like, oh, I need to make, you know, my MFT holes, or I need to do a little round over, or pattern bits, or something like that, is truly, truly phenomenal. Alright, so other than that, it's pretty much the same as any other fixed base router. This locks it down. This clamps the motor to the housing. These are your handles. And then you have your adjustment here. I like how this works is you have this stop collar that locks it, and then you have your gross adjust and your micro adjust. So you push it in, and that will zero it out, and you have your scale here. This guy is pretty simple. You can do a gross adjust. Say if I want to do a 1/2 inch deep, I can come right there, and then I can micro adjust it, and each full turn is 1 millimeter. Yep, so full turn is 1 millimeter, so you can even zero this out to know, like, hey, that's how much I'm micro adjusting this, and then you can lock it down. That I really like. You can also adjust these feet right here. You can see there's a Phillips head screw, and then it's I think it's a 6 millimeter head that you can turn to adjust your depth. So if you're doing, you know, have to do 3 passes on your dado, you can set those passes to be what you need them to be in that instance, which I think is just really well thought out. So this base, you can see, has a pretty big opening. There are a couple of ways to use this with a pattern bit. The first one is Makita makes a special proprietary guy that's this big that you can do your bits with, but then they also sell this plate right here. This plate sits in this. You can see you loosen up the screw, slide that in, slide it down, and then that takes your standard Porter cable brass bushings, or pattern bit, or pattern bushings, or whatever you want to call them, and that just sits right in there, which is super handy. I recommend going this route because you probably have more than one router. This guy's your fence. It's, if you're going to do some type of offset guy, you know, coming offset with your router, all I can say about this is it works. It's not fantastic. It's not high end. It's not super skookum or anything like that, but it mounts right there. You have a screw that goes into right there, and you adjust it until it's how you want it to be, and it works, right? Also, there is a dust collection attachment that you can get for the plunge base that works mediocre at best, really. I think I accidentally broke off some of the covering somehow. It used to have more covering, and I think it worked better, but I hit it with a bit or something like that. Now this base I bought because, frankly, it was there to buy. I've tried using this thing once and then haven't touched it. This is an offset base. So my understanding is, like, if I had to put like a super huge chamfer on something, I could take like a 1/2 inch straight bit or 1/2 inch pattern bit or something like that, and then I can, you can see right there you've got your angles. You know, I could lean that over to my angle and then set it, and then run the router on its edge. Here, let me go ahead and put that in. And you can see you could have the bit running at an angle, and your bit would protrude that way. I thought it would be useful, but honestly, I haven't ever used this, so I would save your money and not bother buying this guy unless you're like, oh, I see an exact use for this that's going to make my life easier. I don't think this particular one is worth it. The nice thing is, though, is this base does fit on this one. So if you prefer a square base, you can swap the base, but you can just buy the base as well. As you can see, it's also super easy to drop the motor into the housing. Now, this is my favorite accessory at all. Let me go grab it. I am a huge fan of my Makita track saw, which is one of the main reasons I bought this. Is I bought the Makita 36-volt track saw, loved it, saw they had a router that came, or that you could buy this guy for, and this guy is for the guide rail. And that is just so useful. This also has your center line marked on it, so you can know where your center line is. But it's super simple to set up. I use this to make some dados. There's a guy who also 3D prints essentially an LR32 system for this guy. So you can see that goes on like that. That goes on like that. And then you just get your router where you're not going to cut into your track, lock everything down, and now you can make dados with your router. Make straight line rips. You can do the LR32 if you have the Fez tool track, and that jig made from Tool Curve. Not sponsored by these guys, but since I have a lot of Fez tool stuff, I had trouble with my vacuum adapter. This guy is just a 3D printed adapter from Tool Curve that slides on. They make a lot of cool 3D prints. I'll be adding some more in the future as well. But if you're looking for a specialized tool adapter for something, they make a lot. 3D printers on Etsy make all kinds of stuff. So that is pretty much it for the Makita router. If you're looking for a palm router and you don't already have one, I can absolutely recommend this as a superior, versatile router package that you can get just the plunge, get just the base corded fixed base router, and then as you have money, you can add the bases you need to it, which really I'd only really recommend this guy, and then this guy if you have the tracks. If you don't have a track, this guy's going to be useless to you. But it's been a phenomenal router. It's the one I reach for. I've actually debated ordering like a second and third just to leave bits set up, but that gets expensive and I already spend way too much money on tools anyway. And now I'm just rambling. So thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a like. If you want to subscribe to the channel, I'd sure appreciate it. There's also going to be links to everything in the description below. They will be affiliate links, and that is a great way to support the channel. You don't pay any extra, but I get a little kickback from you using those links. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.